You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl. And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again. And you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Are you looking for more regions in the map? You think there should be more cities and towns to explore, claim, and die in? Well, if that's the case, we'll be taking a look at the Wildberries map mod by Ukraine Gaming. But before we begin, I'd like to thank Kato for her lovely artwork, and I'd like to ask y'all to support the video with a like and a sub for more like this. Now let's begin, shall we? The northwesternmost landmark in this new region is this giant community pool. A nice little place to get away, find a surprising amount of food within the main room, steal some clothes from the zombified swimmers who left their outfits in the locker room, maybe crash on the cot in the kitchen area. The main room of this area is a giant set of pools, which not only serve as sources of water if you purify them, but also hilariously a source of fish. Funny enough, that's not the sort of swimmers you'd normally catch in a pool. A few too many fins, and not as wriggly of a tail. Now my only real complaint about this place is the fact there's no lights, no switches, the entire building is dim during the day, and at night it's gonna be very hard to see indeed. Still though, I like the attention to detail and placement of props, just hope that attention to detail gets added to the lighting. Are you looking for a bunch of hardware and gardening loot? Well, in the northern central part of the region, we have this hardware store. Now, the first thing I'm going to mention, there isn't proper doors to get into the main store floor. Instead, it's glass windows that look like doors. So you're going to have to smash these in to loot the main building. But the warehouse portion of the store can be walked right into. And once you smash your way in, feel free to loot to your heart's desire. There's even a second floor that has an indoor garden, which you can repurpose to be your own farmland, which is especially useful for, say, challenge mods like Cryogenic Winter, where you can't really farm outside reliably due to the extremely cold weather. Are you looking for a flashy-ass home? Need some style and size to your home life? Then head south of the main town part of the map and you'll find this mansion tucked away on its own in the woodline. At the entrance of the mansion lies a garage where a decent pile of mechanics loot just awaiting your claim. Heading towards the side of the main building you'll find a small hardware shed with more hardware and farming loot. There's even a backyard pool which could be a nice source of water nearby and potentially even fish if you're feeling silly. Within the mansion itself you'll find lots of luxurious living spaces with a very nice large kitchen, a fancy living room, rather spacious bathrooms, and a small library's worth of literature spread entirely throughout the second floor. There's also a nice balcony on the second floor with a cozy couch and a spacious bedroom. Heading to the third and final floor gives us more storage as well as the final large bedroom. Overall, this place is probably my pick in the region for a base so far. A former bank converted into a survivor hideout. It's clear there was a bit of prep work put into this place by some former survivors, with much of the windows barricaded and the second floor windows either covered with sheets or barricaded where applicable. This place can make a ready-to-go holdout within the city itself, located on the southeast side. Another nice thing about this place is it's almost entirely surrounded by high fences with two moderately sized gaps that could fit vehicles, one on the east side and one on the north side. The building itself is rather spacious, with one of the former office areas having been converted into a living space for a pair of survivors. There's also a good supply of bookshelves to loot here in the hopes of finding the literature that you need. This is a pretty good place to bank on for survival. You can really invest for the long haul. We definitely struck gold here. This place really vaults above the rest. But in seriousness, not a bad choice for a base if you're looking for one within the city itself. This centrally located zone's an old abandoned set of warehouses surrounded by high fence. Take this place, clear it out, and you've got a potentially defensible base point within the center of the region. What's even better is some of the buildings still have hardware in them, as their former occupants didn't bother clearing it out entirely. There's a decent haul here, plus the potential of a nice base if you could take your time in clearing it. While not the most impressive of loot points, it'll do the trick when it comes to finding a nice place to set up for the long haul. Personally, I like the 2-story warehouse, as while it's pretty empty, all that space means there's plenty of space to set up for yourself. And if you're looking for more hardware loot, all you have to do is go straight north and you'll run into the gardening and hardware store that I pointed out earlier. So this is a really nice central location. Are you looking for a place to get your groove on? Or maybe you just want to ogle your fellow survivors who like to use those more lewd skin mods? Then on the east side of town, you'll find a strip club with plenty of booze and space for all of your amorous deeds. While it's not the most plentiful source of loot, it does provide the booze in plenty, which if you're lacking, it'll definitely do the trick. Otherwise, put your fellow survivors to use to provide a morale boost if they aren't able to provide a practical benefit elsewhere. This place also likes to spawn a plentiful supply of cigarettes, plus with the large amount of private rooms as well as booths, there's plenty of decent spaces for an entire team to base and sleep here. Now let's move on to the wrap-up, shall we? Overall, this map mod Wildberries is pretty nice, with a nice amount to explore as well as an entire new city to spawn in, or if you spawn outside of here, then an entirely new place to trek to and explore. While I do like the architecture and designs of the map, one recurring issue is the fact that many areas are just poorly lit, if not lit at all. I do think that many portions of the map could use just having someone go over them and make sure everything has lights. But still, it's a pretty nice map with some nice little areas that serve to be dived into. Now then, before I go, I'd like to thank today's artist Kato once again, and I'd also like to thank y'all for watching this far, and all the members, donors, and patrons of the channel who help make this more reliable. This has been Core, and I'll see you next time.